Hello everyone, welcome to Dice on Ice. My name is Em, and this is episode 30 of Curse of Strahd, called Showdown. Now, if you will do a quick recap from our last game, which was quite interesting. It was the great reunion between all of the players finally, or players, the characters, finally together, finally out of the tapestry and ready to be back in Barovia. So not the greatest happy ending that you might have wanted, but they now are able to resume their mission of trying to get out of Barovia. And they came to realize that things have changed a little bit in Vallaki. The tents have been taken down. A more regimented guard has been put up by the Lady Watcher, who has wasted no time in making Vallaki her own. And they went to the Blue Water Inn to see if the children and Irina were there. However, they were not, and they were told that Blinksy had taken care of the children at his workshop. They were the characters were a bit apprehensive of this, rightly so, and went to check out Blinksy, who seemed to just be quite genuinely happy that he was able to take care of these children, and they were all doing fine. Korla talked with Irina, who had spoken about her worry of all of these dolls that Blinksy had made. But other than that, everything was going okay. Blinksy, however, had shared his paranoia, his assertion that the carpenter down the road had been trying to take over his business. And so upon adventuring there, Jean snuck in after the coffin maker did not want anything to do with any of you. Jean slipped inside through her gaseous form into the workshop to see what kind of shenanigans the coffin maker was getting up to, what kind of toy-related conspiracies he was dabbling in. To Jean's possible dismay, there was nothing. No toys, no runes, no evil magic, as far as she could tell, until she heard some talking upstairs between a woman who she did not recognize and the coffin maker. They were talking about a plan that would happen the next night at midnight, though they didn't go into any more detail than that. Jean snuck up there and, to her horror, saw 6 coffins, 5 of them full, occupied by very pale individuals, and a woman sitting on one of the benches drinking a very red liquid. And Jean, you left, you told the others, and they went to find, they went back to the Blue Water Inn to find the vixen, who basically ended up giving them a deal where she wanted them out of Vallaki, but in return for the Sunblade, for the Sun Sword, she and them would go and try and get rid of these vampires, this menace to this very fragile state of Vallaki at the moment. She wanted to do it as covertly as possible, and so it will just be the 5 of you. And so we pick up where the sun, if you can even call it that, as it rests behind the cover of thick clouds, casting this grayish hue all over the land. But you see that indeed the light is high, signifying that it is around midday. You are to meet the vixen at the Blue Water Inn. And as the 4 of you walk in, you see her there. The Blue Water Inn is surprisingly absent of people. A few sit here and there, but it doesn't really look like the garrison, like the army, the guard tavern that you had seen before. It looks to be almost what it once was when you had first come in. You see the vixen, her full face is covered in this it almost looks fox-like. This fox-like mask covers her face, and you see that she has donned some extra armor, leathers, and a sword rests at her side. As she turns, yes, so you would have taken a long rest because you had slept. And she turns towards you, looking at the four of you, nodding. Are you ready?
I mean, I don't know if anyone can ever really be ready for something like this, but I suppose as ready as we are going to be. Should we discuss a plan of some kind before we go anywhere? It's probably a good idea.
The vixen nods and walks over to this crate that is on the side of the bar, and she begins to lift out these great ceramic urns, and she begins to hand them to each of you. And as soon as you hold it, you smell that stench of lantern oil. And you can see that after she if you all take them, these urns, she will also lift out 5 torches. I think that they will be asleep. We have to find some way to get the coffin maker to leave as well. But I've arranged for him for a meeting of a family member that has just passed.
Wait, I'm sorry. You arranged a meeting with a family member of the coffin makers that passed? That doesn't... Just trying to make sure I understand.
He
Have
is
your
going
coffee
to
this
visit.
morning, Vixen.
He is going to visit somebody whose family has just passed.
Gotcha. So, and Phil will actually put the urn of lantern oil she was in the process of taking back down. I actually don't need this. In fact, we may not have to get close to the house to set it ablaze because of the spells that I can cast. Flammable objects hit by my spells will ignite anyway. So that might give us a little bit of breathing room, make them come to us, so to speak.
She nods, but she looks she kind of narrows her eyes at you a little bit. You're sure you can do it discreetly?
I mean, we're setting a house on fire. I don't know how discreet you think this is going to be.
It won't be. I have some of my guards stationed around the house to keep prying eyes away.
If we need help, could we potentially call on them? Is there a signal that you could arrange for them to come and aid us?
She nods.
All right.
I think this oil here is not a bad idea. I mean, you got your magic, Phil, but you're going to have to hit in one location, and it ain't going to be quiet. If we can apply this oil in multiple places around the house, set fire with the torches, in a coordinated effort, we can set fire to much more of the house all at the same time, and possibly have things burning much further without alerting them.
I am agreeing with Eli here because best not to let them know this is happening if we can. I mean
once
take
we
them by surprise.
once we start the fire, if they are cognizant in any way, shape, or form, assuming again these are actual vampires because we still don't know, they could just be very pale people. They're going to know that something's burning once this starts.
But if fire is all around them, then they've got no place to go.
I suppose, I guess, when we place this oil, we definitely should not go alone. If we can work in pairs, maybe, or maybe a group of 2 and a group of 3 with the Vixen here, that would be best, because what would be really bad is if while we are placing this oil, one of these things, for whatever reason, wakes up, hears something, and then one of us is going to be facing one of these monsters alone, potentially. So we should probably try to avoid that if we can.
Agreed.
You can have the quieter of us be the ones to place the oil within the innards of the house. And kind of looks at you, Corla.
Why are you always volunteering me? But you are right. We are quiet.
I am also hopeful that whatever they are, if they are vampires, if they come out into the sun or whatever this is, light, hopefully that will deter them as well.
Hopefully. So just to make sure that everyone is perfectly clear, so everyone but me effectively is going to take one of these urns of lantern oil. We're going to go in groups of 2 or 3, and we're going to place them outside the house, in the actual house. How are we doing this?
We'll need to pour it inside the house.
Okay,
We'll
so we
just
do
spread
that.
it out to cover as much area as we can.
Gotcha.
Get as
So
much square footage of that house
So
on
we-
fire as we
Right.
can.
okay, so
And
we
set
do,
it all at the same time.
Oh, all at the same
set up-
time. Okay.
We'll conflagrate the base, the lower structure of the house. And by the
Yeah.
time that they are roused to their senses, if they are like the creatures that I had fought in the past, even then it might be too late for them as it begins to collapse from underneath them.
Should we only set the first floor ablaze then? Because if we're trying to set the fires at the same time, if someone's upstairs and there's another team downstairs, that upstairs team may have to go through fire, which is probably not ideal.
Perhaps that's where you come in with your
That's true. I could
fire
fly.
spells.
Right. That could work.
Yet again, I don't know if going upstairs is even a good idea. If they can be aroused from their slumbers, that is where they are,
Right.
on the top floor.
Might make more sense to just do the bottom floor, and then we'll set it all alight at the same time, like you said, John, and then we back
The
out.
smoke will rise, they'll be snuffed out.
Yep.
If they live from that, they will have to contend with the flames. If they live with that still, they'll have to contend with the sun.
Right. That makes sense to me. That sounds good to everyone else.
We'll have to make sure that the area is evacuated. We'll have to make sure that the carpenter is safe and sound.
When is this meeting you arranged, Dixon, that Heinrich is going to?
Should be starting about now.
Right. So then we need to go.
All right.
Alrighty. I guess, do we want to figure out well, I guess since we're all going to the first floor, it doesn't really matter. All right, and Fel will actually pick up her urn of lantern oil. Might as well, since we're all going to the same place. I just won't use a torch to light it, so all right, let's go.
Okay, awesome. All right. So you all begin to walk, and you indeed see quite a large circle of area. Once you kind of cross this almost hidden barrier, Vixen has promised, made good on her promise to keep people away. You notice that almost the houses surrounding the carpenters have been vacated. Not vacated, but are seemingly empty for some strange reason. There's no one in the streets who walks, and you can't even see the guards who may or may not be patrolling this area. And as you walk, you see the familiar sight of the carpenter's house.
All right. I guess Corla, maybe if you want to check the door. Or maybe Jean slip in and make sure he's gone before we do that.
Yeah,
So- You can pick those locks, right?
of course I can. As long as he did not bar it from inside.
Remember, try not to make a noise. They have keen senses. Hearing above all.
Are we doing the back door? Or that would probably be where...
Yeah, if there is a back door, why not?
Yeah, there is a door leading to the back. Jean, you would know that from scoping out the house.
Yeah, I think that Jean would have like drawn out all floor plan of this house on like parchment or even like carving into like a piece of wood or something with a knife, making this plan ahead of time.
Okay. All right. So, Corla, if you're going to pick the lock, I need you to make a check, and also a check with your thief tools, and also a stealth check, please.
Okay, I will do stealth first, because I know what that one is. Oh, that's a 29. Okay, so whatever I'm doing it very quietly. So Thieves' Tools is just for efficiency and dex then, right? Is that it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if you picked expertise in your Thieves' Tools, then you get to do that. But
I did not.
there you go.
So that is a 22.
22. Perfect. It takes some finessing, but not because the locks are particularly complex, just they're very, very old. And so it takes a little bit of brute force to get them open. But eventually you do, with an almost inaudible click and no screech or whine from the door opening, you have unlocked the door.
Sorry, I did my math way wrong. That should be 3 points lower, so that would be, if that matters.
What, 19 instead of a 22?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it still opens.
I think seeing this as Fel sort of hefting this urn, she is going to take a moment to concentrate, and then it's almost like her form and the urn she's carrying just kind of blows away in the wind as she's going to cast invisibility on herself.
Perfect.
So with the door open, Corla will go inside and quietly move to front of house, I think. So she will buy stuff.
Fel would follow her invisibly while she does that.
All right. Jean and Eli, what are you two doing?
I think that Jean and Eli, as the more armored folk, Jean at least, I think, will wait for Fel and Corla to have placed their urns and kind of spread the oil in before we go in to do the perimeters. Jean would have identified some weak points of like pillars that support the upper floor, and like had pointed those out to the team to incinerate. But I think we're waiting just for them to be able to do the innards of the house first, and then we'll do the extremities.
My plan is to concentrate oil placement around the doors and windows.
Okay. I'm going to need both Fel and Eli to make me a stealth check. Fel, of course, yours is at advantage.
Who?
Why Eli?
Because you're just operating around the house, So any clank against the window, like,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought we were waiting.
Oh,
Yeah, they were waiting for Fel and Corla to
We're
finish.
waiting for Fel and Corla
Oh, okay,
before
okay.
we do anything.
I rolled a 19 on stealth.
perfect. All right. You are able to go to the front. Vixen is going to concentrate just around the workbenches, around the small areas. Okay. And you see that as she is working around all of these small areas with all of these tools, her arm hits something, and you hear a saw clatter noisily to the ground.
So, how much oil would Corla and Fel have been able to dump before this happens?
Roll me a percentage die, both of you, please.
Gross, Em. Don't make me do that.
62.
So a 0 and a 5, so I'm pretty sure that's 5%.
So I don't know what was happening.
I
with
imagine
you,
maybe
Fel.
Fel had like a hard time getting the lid on the urn off. It's like stuck, she's like fuck, and then she hears the clang of the saw. She's like shit, and a little bit of oil splatters out.
It's almost like this is your first time doing this or something.
I mean, it is my first.
I imagine hearing the sound, just looking at Jean with gritted teeth and just shaking my head as we look in the direction of wherever they went.
Yeah, Jean's eyes snap up to that window that goes into the attic that the where all the coffins were. Because I remember there's like a grimy window, trying to like see if there's any movement through that window.
You see Jean and Corla and Fel. You can hear rustling coming up, like a squeak of footsteps hitting the floor, stepping onto the floor.
So I think Invisible Fel, as quietly as possible, just say, "Put your damn urns down, and I'll try and hit at least one of them. Just now, let me get out now." And she's actually gonna start. She's gonna literally set her urn down, maybe like taking the top off, and then she is going to maybe just push it over, and then try and leave as quickly as possible.
And Jean cues Eli, like, go to the windows. We have only moments left.
I quickly pull off what I imagine is this sort of like wax rimmed seal on the jar and just start dousing all along the window sills and getting as much as I can, splashing on the draperies and being careful not to get it on myself.
Jean goes when she cues Eli to go find another section of the wall that's like directly beneath where the coffin area would be, so that they would have the most smoke, and start dousing that area, being more quick than quiet, knowing that this is the outcome of someone sneezing loudly and knocking a saw on the ground.
And Corla's gonna finish pouring out her urn, making sure to to concentrate on like the area around the front door and the front windows so that the exit's kind of cut off, and has her torch ready to dump and then make a dash if I need to.
Yeah, and the Vixen had emptied her oil and has also lit a torch where the benches are, and just waiting for the rest of you to leave, or at least everyone but Corla, who will, or no, everyone to leave. Yep.
Yeah, and I think Fel would kind of break her own invisibility as she conjures up a teal-colored firebolt in one hand. She looks at the other two, and then she nods, and she's just going to fling the firebolt at her urn, and then she's going to continue moving out of the building.
All right, so as this happens, I imagine it's almost in slow motion all at once, where both Corla and the Vixen drop their torches where they are. You see this whoosh of flame begin to just engulf everything. I need I need Corla for you to make me a dex saving, not a saving throw, but just a dex check to see if you can barrel through these flames.
That will be a dirty 20.
Perfect. You are able to, despite all of these flames beginning to engulf so quickly, you're able to dodge and jump and weave your way through, and eventually you are out the back door. The Vixen is close behind as well. And Fel, what are you casting?
It's Firebolt, so it actually has a range of like 120 feet. So I imagine she would get to the point where she is closest to the door, but she can still see her urn, and then she's just going to chuck this cantrip at the urn and then leave.
Okay, perfect.
So that way she wouldn't get caught in her own flames or anyone else's potentially.
Right. So you are all able to get out as this house just goes up in flame, hot, and the smell is undescribable, between the smell of burning wood, rotting wood, and you even smell the stench of flesh being burnt. And the Vixen urges you all to step back as the fire is just quickly spreading from all the windows and doors where Eli had placed. Pretty soon it is just an inferno, and it doesn't take long before the buckling of this house begins to start with the rafters and the beams. You can hear things falling from the inside as this house just begins to cave in on itself. Okay, so with Firebolt, how much what kind of spell is it? Like a ranged attack spell, or like
it's a ranged spell attack. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to have you do damage as if you rolled a critical. So that's going to be max damage plus a roll.
Okay, so that is 20 points of fire damage at max, plus a roll of shit-tacular 4, so a total of 24 points of fire damage.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, I need everyone, please, to make me perception checks.
$17 for Jean.
15 for Fel.
Natural 1 for Eli. That's a 3.
Eli's so just like enamored by the flames. He's just
He's got his back turned. He's off
to
taking a piss in the woods somewhere.
To be perfectly honest, Eli is probably having a bit of a PTSD flashback.
Oh, that is
to
fair.
Greenest. I
yeah.
mean, knowing this had to be done, he agreed to this plan a little too swiftly, and I think he's just, as the flames are taking off, in the back of his mind, he hears the screams of the people of Greenest, and so Eli is sort of, I'll say he's not mechanically, but maybe just sort of, frozen, staring into the flame. So yeah, he wouldn't notice anything.
And as Eli, you see the flames rising into the air, you, Jean, notice something in the distance. Clouds. Dark, black clouds, approaching quicker than any weather ever should. You can almost see these clouds rolling over top of each other, like claws of a beast in the sky as they just tumble one over another, and they almost obscure the entire place in darkness. And Fel, you feel something on top of your head. Wet. And as you look, as you touch your face and look at it, you see that it is red. Red, dark, viscous fluid just begins to fall in huge droplets from the sky and begin to coat you all. You hear the vixen begin yelling, "No, no, 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 no!" And you can see that she signals to a raven not far off, and the raven hops off, flies away, and you can hear its cawing as this blood begins to coat you. It blinds you. It stings your eyes. Jean, how are you feeling right now?
At first, Jean was confused and concerned when the rain began to fall, and she kind of felt her head getting a bit like soaked in her shoulders by the rain. But then she kind of like looked over and saw that the rain was blood red instead of that of just stormy water. She looked up confused, but to anyone around her would see that her eyes are not the normal color, but they are almost like bloodshot, almost like these orbs of red rubies, in her head. She's almost like dazed and confused, disoriented, a bit dizzy by this. As you can see that her clothes are beginning to soak with this blood. Her features become a bit more gaunt, almost like the skin peeling back onto the bones. And she looks around, and she's very disoriented. She's getting this she's almost as if like tunneling through memories. She's having these flashbacks. Strahd's castle, playing chess with Strahd. The graveyard with Strahd leaning down a flower to place on the grave of Father Donovan's son.
It was the mayor.
The burgomaster.
The burgomaster.
Burgomaster, that's right. The master of burgers. And then also having flashbacks to deep in the woods of Barovia, the mists and the howls of wolves, and a strange, almost skeletal face staring into Jean's own eyes with a toothy grin with pronounced canines, and a greatsword through Jean's chest. And flashback even further to moments after leaving the death house, hearing Corla's screams from inside, chasing, kind of running through the mud, slipping on the mud, seeing the blonde adventuring group companion shouting, "No, we have to leave her behind!" And Jean looking back at this death house as these phantoms swallow Corla alive. And she's just almost catatonic for everyone else to see, almost in shock, as almost all the skin on her face is becoming strange and gray and pale, and revealing almost like the actual physical features of bone beneath the skull, as the anything meaty almost just like vanishes.
All of you are overcome with this sense of dread, almost drowned out by the sounds of rain and the screaming commands of the vixen. As Eli, you see, as your eyes have not been able to leave the flames that engulfed you at one time, and now seem to be repeating. You see within the rubble of this still burning, smoldering house the slight movement of the rubble. And in that time, you see guards begin to circle the house, yelling orders to one another, getting their arrows and swords ready. And I need Corla to make me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh, that's not a good roll. 14.
I need Fel for you to roll me a d6, please.
A D6.
Yes, please.
You got it. That's 2.
Okay. You see, with this lightning fast, almost within a blink of an eye, Eli, you see the rubble move. And you see a shape. You see another and another, a hand, a limb, a body, a torso begin, all of these bodies begin to rise out of this smoldering house, the blood red rain dripping down on their matted hair. And in a moment, they're gone. Corla, one appears in front of you. You see the pale skin, the dark hair, the fangs cry out at you. And you feel a grasp around your neck as a hand strikes out and pulls off your chain from the company of the Golden Wolf. And similarly, the rest of you suddenly see figures in front of the guards, and they do the same thing as they pull off the chains, their pendants. And Fel, as you look over, you see, to your horror, as the vixen, one appears in front of her as well, and pulls the pendant from her neck. And she looks to you in horror and in guilt. And all but 2 guards, you see them begin to convulse, fall to the ground. And within moments, they are dead. 2 of them were able to deflect these beings at the very last moment and keep their pendants on them. And Fel, as you look, you see the vixen does not drop. You see the vixen, however, appearing normal so far. And that's when we're going to start our initiative. You see before you, one more thing that I forgot to mention. You all recognize one of these figures. These vampiric bodies. You can see that now clear as day. The gaunt, skeletal-like figures, the sharp teeth, the white skin. One of them you know. One of them you fought before. Doru from Barovia, who you let get away, the priest Donovan's son, as he stands there with this grin snarling at you. And that is when we are going to start initiative. So there are 6 of these vampiric figures in various spots encircling this house, and we're going to start with Jean.
Jean looks around. She is seeing through a filter of crimson. She can just see the shadowy forms of people. She can see the heartbeats that she does not possess. She sees, if she looks down, that her chest is leaking. The blood is pooling in that well in her chest and seeping out through that fissure in her breastplate. And as it leaks, she looks confused. It's forming a shape. She reaches down with a hand and pulls upon it. And from her chest, made of blood, she pulls out a greatsword. As she almost like screams in pain from this. As she conjures her pact weapon that she has, a magical greatsword that is inside her chest, apparently. And with this sword of blood, she's looking around. And she yells to the beings that have no hearts. What is this? What is this that you're doing to me? As she'll use her movement to close the distance with the nearest one.
Okay. You're
and
able to.
As a bonus action, I cast the spell Spirit Shroud, which is an Unearthed Arcana spell that was released recently. I call forth some spirits which flit around me for the duration. And until the... Oh, no, sorry. No, this is the wrong spell. That's why. I'm using my Warlock feature, Cloak of Flies. My bad. My bonus action, here we go. So I imagine flies, grubs, bats, whatever, these strange, like, shadowy spirits begin to, like, swarm around Jean, almost, like, enticed by this blood. Maybe even the blood rain itself coalescing and giving form and forming vermin that fly, rats that skitter upon the ground. 5 feet around me is an aura of flies. I'm going to call it vermin because I like the idea of rats being on there too. I get advantage on intimidation checks, and creatures that start its turn within this aura take 3 poison damage, which is going to be this vampire that I am in melee with.
Okay.
That is my action, my move, and my bonus action. That is my turn.
Okay. Perfect. Eli, you are next.
All right. As this has been unfolding, I imagine just standing there with this leather wide-brimmed hat, kind of protecting most of the blood rain from getting into my eyes, but it's falling in thick drops in front of my face. Some of it's already in my beard. My hand is already on the handle of Righteous Indignation. And I lock my eyes on the one that I recognize, Doru from Barovia, raising the weapon, blood beginning to almost bead across the metal as I pull the hammer back. And I'm going to spend a grit point and take a Deadeye shot, which will give me advantage on this attack. As I'm going to shoot at Doru. Let's see. So rolling with advantage. That is going to be a 24 to hit.
That is definitely a hit.
And so that first shot will do minimal damage. I imagine it almost just clips him a little bit. I got a total of 4 piercing damage from the first shot. I'm going to take my second shot. This one will be without advantage. That's going to be a 26 to hit.
Another hit.
I imagine as I'm pulling the hammer back again, just kind of reaching up and wiping away some of this blood, aiming And this time I do 5 piercing damage with this shot. And I almost imagine from the sound of this rain, this blood rain, and the thickness, the shots are almost muffled in the air. This sort of, you don't get that sound carrying. It seems to just explode and die almost immediately. I'm not going to move. I'm going to stand my ground.
Okay.
And yeah, that's all I'm going to do for right now.
Okay, perfect. All right. It is the vampire's turn. Fel, I need you to make me an intelligence saving throw.
Oof. Well, that's not great. Oh, it's actually not bad. It's a 15.
All right. You. Oh, I need some d6s. Nee. Oh, sorry. I need way more d6s than I have. You see that this one vampire locks eyes with you, Fel, and you feel almost entranced, unable to look away from this gaze. You are going to take 13 points of psychic damage. What are you thinking right now? What are your general emotion state at this moment?
So I imagine from the moment that she realized it was blood falling from the sky and not rain, the vixen has been shouting commands to her guards, and there's probably just been this constant scream just coming from Fel as she is drenched in blood. She bought an oilcloth cloak with a hood on it that she frantically pulled up, but I imagine she's just been screaming in terror the entire time. And then as this monster locks eyes with her, she suddenly almost trails off in a way, and she just goes quiet as she finds her own pale green eyes locked into, I imagine, the red burning embers of this creature's eyes, and she just sort of stands there just shaking, wanting to scream but unable to because she is so beguiled by this creature's gaze.
Corla, in the same way, you see another one of these things lock eyes with you. Its red eyes piercing almost still through this dark red vision, the screen that is in front of you. And you also need for me to make an intelligence saving throw.
That is an 18.
What is your emotion right now as this thing stares at you, through you, seemingly to know everything you're thinking right now?
Fear. I think fear. I think everything from the death house has come back to Corla. Everything she's experienced since we've been to Barovia is coming crashing down and is right there now in front of her as this physical being staring at her, and fear and vulnerability is going through Corla's head right now.
And you are going to take 17 points of psychic damage as this it looks, and you can see that this vampire seems to know what you're feeling and smiles, grins at the thought, at the opportunity to see your fear.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because I have the ability Uncanny Dodge, where I get hit with an attack. Would this even apply? Because it's a mental one?
It's not an attack, it's a saving throw. So
Yeah, it's a saving
there
throw.
you go.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
If it was like an attack roll to see if it hit you, then it would apply.
Gotcha. Thank you.
There we go. Yep, thank you. Okay, and then Jean, you are up against one of these.
Yep. So it's going to take 3 poison damage from my Cloak of Vermin.
Okay. All right. And it is going to try to claw at you.
Before it does so, it's going to have to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh. Okay. Wisdom. It's a 17.
All right. Everything's kosher.
Okay. So it's going to try and claw at your very being. That is a critical fail. So that is going to be a 25 to hit you.
Yep, 25 will hit.
I believe hits. And that is going to do 9 points of slashing damage.
Perfect. It's going to have to make a dexterity saving throw as I hiss back from the claw. And almost just like with another motion with my spare hand that isn't holding this greatsword, I just lash out, and the blood from my body, from this rain, begins to almost like turn into acid and boils, and strikes back as I cast Hellish Rebuke
Nice. Okay.
upon this vampire.
Dexterity?
Dexterity saving throw, yes.
Okay, that is a 5.
All right, that's going to take some fire damage. I'm going to turn on dice rolling. Hell yeah. Ooh, that's big numbers. That's 34 fire damage.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it reels back. It's screaming, shrieking as it reels back, but it's almost the shriek almost gets cut off by the amount of just blood rain coming down. It almost gets drowned out by that. And Eli, perfect. Eli, one is going to run at you and try to claw at you. That is going to be a 12 and a 25 to hit.
Yeah, dodge out of the way of that first swipe and unknowingly turn into that second one.
And as you unknowingly kind of turn into that second one, it's going to try and hold on to you instead of scratching at you. So it's going to try and grapple you. I believe that's contested strength.
Yeah, contested strength checks.
Strength or athletics?
I think it can be either or.
Yeah.
It's your call, Em.
I would say, yeah, athletics is fine. Okay.
Dirty 20.
So, okay, it critically failed. So I'm going to say that with that critical fail, you are able to almost push it down to the ground so that it's prone. So.
Yeah, as it grabbed hold of me, I imagine just sort of doing a reversal on its grip and using its own momentum to push it down to the ground as I sidestep. I'm a monster hunter.
All right, and then Doru is seemingly occupied with one of these guards who had come up on him. So he, and then that's the other one, and then that's the guard. Perfect. And we are at Corla. You have, you don't have one on you, but you have one just staring into the pit of your soul, about 10 feet away from you.
Yeah, that's terrifying, and Corla gets angry when she is terrified. That is her fight or flight. And in this moment, I would like, as my bonus action, to make an insight check against that creature that is staring at me versus its deception.
Perfect.
Oh, I rolled a 20. So that's a 28.
He crit failed.
Oh, yes. Okay. All that does is allows me to use my sneak attack even if I don't have advantage on them.
Perfect.
And at that, she will scream. This most guttural sound coming from the deep core of all of her fear manifest in the scream as it's changing and propelling her forward, and she is going to attack this creature with a short sword.
Perfect.
Okay, that is a 24 to hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Woohoo!
Do your damage.
Those are good. I like this roll. Okay, so it is 10 points of piercing, and then...
Is your weapon magical or non-magical?
No, it's just a regular short sword.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10 points of piercing, and then 14 points of sneak attack on top.
Perfect.
So 24.
Perfect. So you're right up on this dude.
I'm in its face now, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Screaming, because I don't think that'll ever stop at this point.
That's fair. All right. Now it is going to be the Vixen's turn as she kind of gets over her this fear, this guilt that she was looking at you, Fel, and she is able to turn her attention over to the vampire that is just staring at you, and you hear her scream turn into something else, almost this roar, like some sort of bear, as you see within the rain this spectral form begin to manifest as you see this spectral bear begin to form. And sorry, 1 second. And she points her hand towards this thing, and the bear begins to bound towards this vampire, claws bared and teeth. Okay, and that is going to... Okay, perfect. Perfect. So this thing just claws into this vampire, and Fel, it is your turn. He has broken away his gaze from you as he recoils from this bear's attack.
So I think with the breaking of the gaze, Fel almost comes back to her senses, and she surveys this chaos, this blood-soaked nightmare, and she sees Eli dodge out of the way of his vampire's first swipe and then get caught on the second, and then the failed attempt at the grapple from the vampire. And I think she has this moment where she thinks about almost how it felt when she was first in the mists with Eli and Oscar and Gleowin and the Everchild after Stanimir and his group had sort of vanished, when we stopped hearing their singing, when we stopped seeing their wagons. Just those feelings of anger and frustration and betrayal, and the anger starts to build. And she remembers her father telling her stories about the first Daggerford, who was apparently a berserker of some kind, and his temperament was passed down and sort of almost diluted through the generations. And that berserker rage, that Daggerford temper, as they call it, starts to rage within her. She snaps her hand forward, and I think everyone would sort of hear the distant sound of the baying of hounds as her shadow bulges and changes into this fiery-eyed, fiery-fanged dog directly behind the vampire that is attacking Eli. Is it within about 120 feet-ish, would you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So she's going to burn 3 sorcery points to summon her Hound of Ill Omen.
So is this, are you targeting the one that is prone at the moment?
So this is just summoning. I think it
Okay.
it rolls its own initiative, basically.
Okay.
So I will do that in a second. However, as she sort of tries to find some kind of calm in this building tempest of anger, she is actually going to point at the vixen. Her lips flood with black, and the veins around her mouth also fill with this black liquid. And she was actually going to cast a message to the vixen, and she is going to sort of whisper, "Where is the Sun Sword? Where is it?" And the vixen can respond to the message.
I did not bring it. It is back at the inn.
Okay, so hearing that, Fel is going to... How close is Eli to where she is right now?
I would say about 20 feet away.
Okay, so Fel will move her full movement to get behind you, Eli. And I imagine you just hear this very ragged, kind of breathy voice. It's actually her true voice, not the accent she normally puts on. She just says, "Eli, we need to, we need to get to the Blue Water. That's where the Sun Sword is. We need to get there now." And then, just so you know, for initiative, the Hound rolled a 21. And then she is going to end her turn right there, because that was an action to cast a message.
Okay. 21. Okay. Perfect.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay. And in fact, it is the Hound's turn, as we are back up at the top of initiative.
Excellent. All right. So the Hound of Ill Omen is going to attack. It's going to attack at advantage because it has an ally within 5 feet of the creature it is attacking. Ah!
So, sorry, it is running towards the one that is prone?
So yeah, well, yeah, that's fair. So it would have advantage anyway. It's
It would,
actually
yep.
appearing. Yeah, it's actually appearing directly behind it, so it doesn't even have to move.
Perfect. Yep.
That is going to be a 23 to hit.
Absolutely.
All right. Great damage, but I imagine again, Eli, you see this. It's almost like a roughly human-sized shadow, but it is roughly dog-shaped. Kind of these slavering jowls and these teeth made of teal-colored fire, these eyes of teal-colored fire. I imagine there's even like a collar of teal-colored flame that just snaps and kind of crackles in this blood rain, and the jaws sink into this creature's kind of maybe like the thigh area for a whopping 7 points of piercing damage. It is not magical piercing damage.
Okay.
Actually, let me double-check that right quick. 2 seconds.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's not, but I just want to make sure. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Nope. Yeah, not magical.
Okay, perfect. All right, and that's its turn, which will bring us to Jean.
Jean is hissing at this vampire that struck her with its long claw. And so she will bring up this blood greatsword, and feeling invigorated by this strange, almost like bestial power within her, she'll strike at this. Before she strikes, excuse me, she's going to cast a spell. Now she casts Spirit Shroud. There we go. As the blood coagulates around her, flitting around her. Until the spell, so I'm concentrating on Spirit Shroud until the spell ends. Any attacks I make deal 1d8 extra damage when you hit a creature within 10 feet of you.
Nice.
Any creature that takes this damage can't regain hit points until the start of their next turn. So it's going to cancel off regeneration on this thing if I happen to hit it. And any creature of my choice that I can see that starts within 10 feet of me has a speed reduced by 10 feet, which I don't know if it will matter much here. Anyways, all that said and done, so I do an extra 1d8 with all these hits. First hit is going to be an 18 to hit. Okay. That's going to do a 15 plus. I'm trying to roll the beyond dice. 15 plus 6, 21 magical slashing damage.
Nice.
My second attack is going to be a 17 to hit.
Yep, that
And
hits.
it deals 14 plus 17 total slashing damage.
You can explain to me how you slay this vampire.
Perfect. Okay, so Jean presses the attack. The creature, Jean and this vampire are like hopping like almost like back and forth, trying to like rip at each other with each other's like strange ferocity. And as we lunge at each other, we dodge each other's blows. Jean's able to get it in a quick, like hearty, like thrust in with a greatsword, stabbing the vampire almost like inches away from its heart, like through the ribs. The vampire only grins at this blow, knowing that's not lethal. And then as Jean has a pull out with this greatsword, ripping out this vampire flesh as she does so, it opens itself up to a moment as this blade has cut deeper than even the vampire thought it could, and Jean will spin around, decapitate this vampire.
Nice.
As Jean steps on the corpse as it falls down, pulling the sword free from what remains of this vampire's neck, and will stare up into the sky, eyes closed, mouth open, to continue to almost like drink more of that blood that falls from the sky. That was my action. And I use my movement to move to the next closest vampire.
So, okay, so you have Eli and Corla on either side of you, and they are both engaged right now with a vampire. You also have a bit away, you have Doru, who is fighting another guard that is past Eli and the prone vampire.
How about the one that Corla is? Is that too far away?
No, that's not too far away. You can get there.
I'll go to the one that Corla is attacking.
Okay.
As Jean just lunges, almost like on like 3 limbs instead of 2, as using her spare hand to help propel her across the ground. So you said I get the effect of the haste spell. Let me just quickly get this up. My speed is doubled. Perfect. I can make 1 additional attack per turn. I will use that 1 additional attack to smack this one that Corla's on.
Okay.
That's gonna be a 18 to hit. Goodness gracious.
That's a hit.
And that's gonna be 9 plus clear 9 plus 7. That'd be 16 total magical slashing damage.
Okay.
And that is the extent of my turn.
Perfect. Next is Eli. You have a vampire next to you, as well as the Fell's hound. This vampire is prone on the ground.
I imagine at this point, everything seems to almost be moving in slow motion. The blood dripping slowly off of the brim of my hat. I heard Fell moved in behind me. She said something. And in a slow blink of the eyes, there's a hellhound tearing at the vampire at my feet that I've barely let go of its hand after throwing it to the ground. I spin on my heel, taking aim at point blank range at the vampire on the ground, and I'm going to spend my last script point to cancel out the disadvantage for the close range.
Would you not get advantage because it's prone already? Or
No, it'd be
Ranged
disadvantage.
Ranged weapons
Okay.
have disadvantage on prone targets.
okay, yep.
So I'm
Thank
going to cancel that out by using the trick shot, dead eye shot.
'Kay.
That'll just make it a straight roll. That's going to be a 25 to hit.
That hits.
And I imagine just this sort of my eyes barely blinking as there's this again muffled. That's going to be 8 points of piercing.
Okay.
And then I'll take the second shot at it at disadvantage. It's an 18 and a 15, so that's still going to be a 23 to hit. That's going to make another 10 points of piercing damage. This is all non-magical, by the way.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Let's see, that's 4 shots. Still, everything's seeming to be almost in slow motion. I look around and I see Jean killing this vampire. I see Doru fighting the guard. I see and sort of hear Fel. Almost imagine Fel yelling, and I can see her mouth moving, but I can't really hear what she's saying. Corla engaged, and my left hand reaches up. I'm going to action surge so that I can take another action. And my hand finds the silver holy symbol of Shantea that Fel gave to me. And looking around at Fel, Corla, and Sean, I mutter just a simple prayer to Shantea. May you guide and bless those who fall under your protection. And I don't know per se what exactly motivated that. But as I do it, there seems to be this sort of just a surge out from me. And I am casting my first cleric spell.
Ooh,
As I am casting Bless on my 3 companions.
nice.
So, of course, you will have, for the duration of that, you will have the D4 to add to your attacks, ability checks, and saving throws. Nope, not ability checks. Attack rolls or saving throw. For the next minute, as long as I concentrate on it. And that was an action surge to do that. So that will end my turn. The one at my feet, is it still alive?
It is still alive, but
Okay, then I'm not going anywhere.
very injured. Yep. All right. So, Jean, you are at this one that has been fighting Corla, and it looks at you. Actually, one second before I do that. Okay. It looks at you, and its piercing gaze shoots through yours, and you can feel the hate, the malice behind it. I need you to make an intelligence saving throw, please.
Before I do this, is this an attack or spell from an undead creature?
This is an action from
So
an
it's neither
undead.
attack nor spell.
Um,
If it's not obviously an attack or a spell, then nothing.
well, it's like it's not a spell. It's just it's an action that they can do.
Yeah,
that
perfect.
recharges.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah,
sense. Okay.
Those aren't necessarily. If it doesn't say that they make an attack, it's not an attack.
Yeah.
So intelligence saving throw.
Yes, please.
Perfect. That's gonna be a total of 3.
Add a D4.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're blessed.
Am I blessed?
Yes, all 3 of you are blessed.
Oh, Yep. I will add a D4 to my 3.
You could
and
make it a 7, maybe.
I can almost double it. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a 6. Doubled it with a D4.
See, Shantae is twice as good for you.
There we go.
As this thing peers into your very soul, you can feel that it has a kinship with you, but it is different. Kinship with others that you have just killed, but not exactly. The others that you have seen and that you just killed feed on blood. This one is different. This one seems to feed on the mind, on your emotions, and despite your every effort to be able to keep your emotions and your thoughts intact, this gaze, these eyes just seem to pull it out of you like a thread. And tell me, what does this vampire get from you as you take 20 points of psychic damage?
Okay, that's going to be a concentration roll from me to keep my spell intact. It's if you hadn't taken the 3 poison damage at the beginning of its turn, it takes 3 poison damage.
Oh, yep, thank you.
So concentration. We keep the spell. Perfect. Okay. So as it senses my deepest and outward thoughts, it's probably felt this 100 times. Not 100 times, but this sensation before. Perhaps it remembers this particular feeling. The feeling of a freshly turned vampire who's confused, who is hungry, who is starving, who doesn't know what the world is, who hasn't really come to true reckoning with their new form, their new nature. Almost like a bit of pity this vampire might even feel, a bit of like melancholy or amusement as this wayward child is having a conniption fit, essentially. What Jean is expressing and emoting is just hunger, confusion, disorientation, rage, trying to reckon with what she's feeling right now. She's constantly being bombarded with memories of her past. Most prominently, the moments of her death over and over and over again, reeling like a broken record in her mind's eye. And she almost seems to be mistaking these other vampires for the one that took her life, rather than their true nature.
As vampire has a look that's different than when it looked at Corla. It looked with satisfaction at her pain, but with this you see this confusion and almost this pity. And that'll bring us to this other vampire who is being attacked by the spirit bear. And it tries to lash out at this bear, but this bear's incorporeal form, that and it's the vision just being totally just evaded by this rain. It goes and it misses. Then, okay, that one's dead. Right, this one gets up from prone. Eli is going to stand and is going to try and... It's going to try and bite you. And also scratch you. So that's going to be a 25 and a 22 to hit.
Just gets me.
And it is going to do 8 points of piercing damage, and it is going to do 4 points of necrotic. Also, your hit points is reduced by 4. Your maximum hit points are reduced by 4.
All right.
Oh, whoops.
And that was just the bite.
That was just the bite. Now, it is going to try and... Oh, I am... Okay, I was looking at the wrong one, but it's still the same, so that's fine. The claws is going to be 7 points of slashing damage. As it just claws and tears out a piece of your arm, I imagine, as it leaps up into the air. Doru is still attacking this guard, and you can very easily see, Eli and Fel, that this vampire is, or Doru is definitely winning. Corla, you see the guard on the other end. It's not so sure at this moment who is winning at this point between this other guard that you see. And with that, it is your turn, Corla. You are engaged with Jean with this vampire.
Now, Jean, your aura.
Yeah, it's going to do 3 points of poison damage to you, as bloody rats and bats will bite you. If you're within 5 feet of me, which you probably are.
Well, are you? It depends on if you're on the other side of the vampire that's between us.
That's going to be the game master's call, I guess.
I'll leave that up to you. I'm sure that you would know what your spell can do, so I assume that you wouldn't purposely try and...
Metagamingly, yes,
Yeah.
I would have Corla not be picked at by rats. But
I
don't think that Jean would have cared if Corla was in the way.
Okay.
Ooh.
I would say...
If that makes any sense.
Right. I would say that you're able to flank this...
Perfect.
Vampire.
You're safe from the rats for now, Corla.
For now. Thanks.
For now.
Thanks so much. Seeing this vampire turn from her and go towards Jean, unlike Jean, Corla cares. And so she's like yelling out, "Don't you..." I can't do it now because don't you touch her. And would be striking out at its back with her short sword, which is not magical, unfortunately. Oh, and we get the +4 on this one, don't we? So that's a 24 to hit.
Absolutely. And I will not get you to roll because you are going to kill it.
Yes. So basically Corla is kind of jumps on this creature's back to deliver the blow that pierces its heart, I guess, where it would be. And as it falls to the ground, Corla lands on top of it as well, and then pulls out the sword, looking up at Jean. And I think that's the first time she has seen Jean looking the way she is. And it shocks her to her core. I think at that point she would hesitate, and instead of moving and attacking something else, she is just dumbfounded looking at Jean.
All right. The vixen, the one vampire is kind of in combat with this spectral bear that she has summoned, and she is going to run around till she is kind of in the middle of these two groups, Eli and Fel, and the Hound and Jean and Corla, and she's going to... You hear these words that come across her lips, but they are not that of any language that you can speak, for they sound like the rocks grinding against each other, the rush of a waterfall, and the beating of the heart of the forest. but you all feel this sense of regeneration as she's going to cast mass healing word, I believe. That's yeah. And it's 6 creatures. Perfect. That is going to be...
I just made 2 quick concentration checks because I forgot to do that to make sure my bless stays up.
Mm.
And I just barely made it. So bless is still up.
Perfect. So each of you can roll 1d4 plus 4, and that's how much you are going to heal.
All right. Wait, what the? Why did my character sheet reset for some reason? Well, that's dumb. Yeah, everything reset on my character sheet for some reason.
Oh no.
All right, that's all right. I remember where I was at.
Well, Eli's completely healed.
I'm like, I don't.
Magic.
I remember
Yeah.
where I was at, so that would be. Do that. Damage. Max hit points. Like that. Or I don't know what happened there. High action surged. Use both of those. Cast bless. Okay, and then we heal 1d4
Plus 4. Yep.
4, so I get 6 points back. Okay, I'm back on track. I think. I don't know what happened.
And then you see she uses more of this language, this mysterious, just nature. It just sounds like the sound of nature. Doru, you see these spikes begin to protrude from the ground as he is impaled on them. And that is that. Perfect. And then we're going to get to Fel.
Yeah, so seeing that Eli does not seem to either have heard her or has chosen to ignore her recommendation to leave, she's going to let out kind of this frustrated snarl, and then she's going to once again point a finger at the Vixen as her lips, dry as are still black with these black veins spidering out from them. She's going to cast a message again and say, "Where in the house is the sword? Where in the house is it?"
Make me a perception check, please.
No,
As-
I'm just kidding.
No. I don't want to see anymore.
Man, I'm actually rolling really well. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm pretty sure Felt doesn't want to see anymore. That's an 18.
As you look towards the Vixen, you can see there are small patches of fur beginning to extrude from her skin and from underneath her mask as she looks at you. And when she speaks, it is more of a growl than... there's this throaty undertone growl to her voice as she cries out, she messages back to you. It is beneath the bar, in a hidden cupboard, behind the lion's mane. And that's what she says. And
Right.
with that, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
So, you've killed 2 of 6. So, that's great. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you to my players. We will be back in about 10 minutes, so stick around. We will see you soon. Right. Hello, everyone. Let us continue in this endeavor. The rain continues to fall thick and blocking your vision, making it extremely hard to even see what is a few feet in front of you. Fel, it is still your turn. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yep. All right. So she is going to kind of move beside you, Eli. Actually, yeah, she'll move kind of beside you, but keeping like a 10-foot distance between her and the vampire that Eli and the Hound of Ill Omen are engaged with. And I need it to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
A dexterity saving throw?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That is a 7.
Okay. So, yeah, I imagine as she kind of calls out to all of you to run, if anyone looks back, and definitely Eli, because you're right there, you would kind of feel this heat building beside you, and Fel inhales and then just lets loose this breath of teal-colored fire as this vampire is going to take 14 points of fire damage.
Nice.
And I imagine there's still like a little bit of like oily white smoke leaking through her teeth and through her lips. And I'll say, just because it's cool flavor, her eyes kind of flood completely black again as she is sort of preparing another inhalation. And that is going to end her turn, which I believe brings us to the Hound.
It does indeed.
All right. So Verity, the Hound of Ill Omen, is still flanking with Eli, so he is still going to get advantage on the attack. Unless the vampire didn't move, did it?
Nope, it did not.
QQ. Okay, that is a dirty 20 to hit.
That is a hit.
And I need the vampire to make me, please, a strength saving throw.
Okay. That is a 20. Dirty 20.
Okay. So it is not knocked prone. So I imagine almost reacting to Fel's rage at not being listened to and just her scream to the rest of the companions that she's been traveling with for a while now. The Hound almost seems to kind of grow a little bit as it swats this vampire with one paw and then just sinks its fangs into kind of its lower back, dealing a total of 14 points of piercing damage as these fangs of teal-colored fire kind of sink through the clothes, maybe even cause them to smolder a little bit.
Perfect.
And that is it for the Hound.
Excellent. Jean, the vampire in front of you is dead. There is one that is still fighting the spectral bear. There is one beyond that is fighting a guard. There is also the one fighting engaged with Eli, and then there's Doru, who is fighting the guard. Another guard.
As if, like, in a distant, echoing part of a cave, like a dream, Jean hears, "We have to get out of here now." And Jean looks over her back and she sees the thick woods of Barovia. They're covered in the mists and blood. And she sees that horned tiefling calling out to her as she's gasping for breath, as her lungs are filling with blood from being stabbed, for being impaled by this vampire in the woods. She looks back and she can't say anything. She can't speak. She can't respond to Flint, who's being chased, who's running, trying to run away, but being chased by wolves that are made of shadow and whose bones protrude through the fur. And she looks back again and she sees this vampire, though it's cloaked in shadow. Only the strange blood of its power flows through its body, and she will lunge, almost like smoke in a dash. She can move 60 feet, and she will approach the vampire that is attacking Eli, knowing
Okay.
this to be her quarry, even though it isn't, and make some attacks against it.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
So for my action, I make some attacks. It's going to be a 14 to hit. Oh no, so plus.
Yeah.
15 to hit.
That just hits. Yeah.
Perfect. That one's going to do 10 plus. I hate how the dice pops up in front of my spelled dice. 13 points of magical slashing.
Okay.
My
You
next
said
hit.
I thought you said medical slash.
Medical slashing as I
Surgical precision.
It's
my
a very
hacksaw
precise
and
cut.
scalpel.
Scalpel.
Yeah. My next hit is going to be with this bloody greatsword. Blood, literally bloody. 22 to hit. Sorry, 25 to hit with the blessed die.
Absolutely.
And this is going to do... I'm just getting a real dice because I'm sick of this beyond dice. 5, 9 plus 8, 17 magical slashing.
You slay another vampire.
And as Jean strikes a killing blow upon this vampire, her fangs meet this vampire's neck, trying to sup the last bits of vampire blood from its neck as this greatsword has lacerated this creature with these fell cuts. And I have another action bestowed by this haste spell, but I could make an attack against Eli, but he doesn't have vampire blood in him, so I'm not going to do that. I can take this extra action to do the dash action, which I will do to get to the dash 60 feet over to the next vampire, which you said is Doru, correct?
It's going to be Doru. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. She'll move to there, and I have a bonus action left. I don't think I have any bonus action stuff to do because I'm all out of spell slots. So I will just sit there, and on its turn, it'll be in my Cloak of Vermin aura.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. And that brings us to Eli. Jean, it's almost as if a whisper of a wind, she's come in and killed the vampire in front of you, and has moved on to Doru, who has been fighting this guard, and this guard looks as though they are losing.
So, wait, Sean, the one you killed was the one in front of me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, Jean just swooped in like
Yeah, that
smoke,
happened so fast.
decapitated him, and zapped off to the next one.
And zooped on over.
So, and which one is Sean?
Doru. Yeah.
But there's one that's with a guard.
Doru is with the guard.
Oh, wait. How many are left?
There are... so there is another one on the other side of the house with a guard near where Corla is. But then there's Doru with a guard. Also, there's 2 guards.
All right. I'm going to take 2 shots at Doru.
There's 3 of them left, correct? Em?
Yeah, and one's fighting a bear.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to let the bear deal with that one.
A vampire fighting a bear.
I got 2 more rounds in Righteous Indignation right now.
Perfect.
So I am going to pop them both off at Doru. I'm going to go ahead and spend that grit point to gain it. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I hit first. I might try something different. I'm going to take a shot at him. Just straight roll. That's a 24 to hit.
Yep.
So I'm going to spend a grit point to turn that into a winging shot. Doru will need to make a strength saving throw.
Okay.
DC 14. or
Oh.
be knocked prone.
He fails.
So I imagine I clip him in the hip and sort of kick his leg out from under him, and he drops to the ground. So then I would get advantage on my next shot. That's going to be 25 to hit.
Yep, that's a hit.
Actually, I forgot to roll damage on the first one. So the total damage, the first shot is 5. Second shot is 13. I rolled max damage on that one.
Perfect.
So total of 18 non-magical piercing, and my weapon is empty. It'll cost me on my next turn. I can spend an action, or I can use one of my attacks. It says to reload that.
Perfect.
So that is all that I'm going to do. Since I'm attacking ranged, I don't really need to move.
Okay. Perfect. All right. And if that's your turn, we're going to move on to the vampire and a bear. Let's see. Oh man. I need you, Corla, to make me an intelligence saving throw as this thing is in melee with the bear and just looks over towards you.
I get the bless die still on that saving throw.
Yes.
Yep, bless is still up.
Oh, yay. So that's lovely. That'll be a 24.
Excellent. You are looking, and you can see that there are only 3 left. You have already seemed to kill half of them. What are your surface thoughts at this moment as this vampire just looks at you? And you can feel it feeding off of your emotions, but it doesn't feel as strong as it could be.
I think, unlike the first time when the first gaze when she locked and fear was just overwhelming her, she has just killed one of these creatures and is looking around at them dying elsewhere. And for a split second, and maybe this is what saves her, is when that creature looks at her, all she has for it is, "You're next."
And as if it is furious at this proclamation that you've made in your mind to it, you're going to take 13 points of psychic damage as it glowers at you. And that is that. That one is dead. That one is dead. All right. So you see Jean. Doru stands up. You can see this wicked smile, and you see that he has been whispering or saying something that you couldn't hear until you have come up to Doru, and he's facing the guard, but his eyes are towards you, Jean. As he
poison damage.
Thank you. As he slices open the throat of this guard, killing it, his eyes glance towards you, Jean, and just, "It's all gone. It's all gone. It's all gone. It's all gone. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Burn down. Burn to the ground. All of it. All of your precious village." And Doru is going to make his second. Doru is going to try and bite you.
If he's biting me, he's got to make a wisdom saving throw.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That is a 12.
All right, so on a failure, the creature must choose a new target or waste the attack or spell. As this is my Among the Dead feature. So it probably can't even bring itself to attack me, because maybe even for a moment it thinks that I am one of its kin, and almost like brings a claw up to attack me and realizes this.
So I think, yeah, Dora is going to give up the attack then, because there is no one else around him. And you see, Corla, that there is one more vampire and a guard who are fighting, and the vampire is clawing at this guard, though this guard is holding up their own, being slashed over and over. This guard is bleeding profusely, but you can't even tell because of the thickness of this blood rain. You can't tell whose blood is whose and which is from the sky. Right? Oh, shoot. Okay, perfect. That will bring us to Corla.
Okay, so the one that locked eyes with me is how far away? And fighting a bear, right?
And finding a bear, yeah. 10 feet.
Okay, and then the guard who's also fighting one is how far away from me?
About 15 feet.
Okay, so yeah, going after the one fighting the bear, but not fighting the bear, just fighting it.
Okay.
Yeah, we will make haste and attack it. Oh, that's a crit.
Nice.
Liking that. Okay, so how do you do crit?
It's going to be max damage, and then you roll again. Roll a second time.
Perfect. Now, does that count on the sneak attack damage?
Yes.
Woohoo!
And you do get sneak because there's a companion.
There's a bear.
Yeah, because there's a bear right there.
So it's 28 plus my roll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is 11 is 19. So 47 points
Awesome.
of piercing and sneak attack.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, you really put a hurt to this thing.
Yeah, and I think as I'm coming closer, all I'm saying is you're next, as I'm running towards it.
Perfect. And is that your turn? Okay.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Perfect. So the vixen, you hear more growls and snarls from the vixen as she calls out in pain for the death of this guard from Doru. And as she calls this out, she is going to run at you, Fel. And it's almost this animalistic run, and she puts this hand that is now becoming more of a claw on your shoulder. Kill it, is what she says, and you have been given the grace of Bear's Endurance. You gain 2d6 temporary hit points. And you have advantage on Constitution checks.
Nice. I imagine as this transforming vixen as she puts her hand on Fell's shoulder. She sees the anger that she was feeling before has completely faded away to be replaced by this expression of shock, and these completely black eyes are looking past the vixen towards where Jean and Doru are. But then her gaze snaps back to the vixen, and she just nods without saying anything as she will very gratefully take those temporary hit points.
Perfect. And I think, yeah, that's an action. And Corla, you see the bear slash at this, at the vampire. Oh, it critted. Nice. So, that is going to be quite a lot of damage. Whew, okay. Perfect. And that'll bring us to Fell.
So I imagine before the vixen had come over to her and again told her to kill it, Fell was completely kind of knocked back mentally and emotionally just by seeing what Jean had just done. And I think her mind is kind of flashing through these specific moments in the time that she's known Jean. The moment when we somewhat had to corral her into a room at the Church of St. Andrew's to get her to tell us what her relationship with Strahd was, what she was. That was when she revealed that she was in fact an undead. That moment in the Valakovich family crypts when Corla and Eli were both unconscious, and Jean said, "You know, we can't afford to even trust each other. We can't trust anybody here." And then just the sight of the vampiric claws, or those magical claws, ripping out one of the Watcher brothers, actually both of the Watcher brothers, I think, their throats in that alley. All of this just slams into Fell over and over again, and she actually starts to lift off the ground, and her hands sort of snap down to her sides as these columns of teal-colored fire propel her upwards, and she is going to cast a quicken spell by burning 2 sorcery points. So Doru and Jean, who else is in that general vicinity?
No one else. It is just Doru and Jean.
So she points, and I imagine, again, you just hear this shout of just, "You lying bitch!" And then this tiny teal-colored pea-sized ball of fire streaks towards both of them, and I need them both to make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw.
Oh, damn. All right. That is a 7 from Doru.
I got a 14.
Okay, damn, just one
Oh,
shy.
no, plus less.
Yeah, plus less.
Yeah.
Plus less. Plus another 4. That's 18
Cool.
total.
So yeah, I imagine maybe, and I mean, you know, because they've been traveling together, I imagine the fireball was aimed more at Doru than at you, Jean, despite the rage that is once again coursing through Fell as this little pea-sized ball of fire, smaller than the firebolts cantrips that she casts, hits the ground and just detonates in this explosion of teal-colored flame for 24 points of fire damage, halved because you passed the save, or you met the save, Jean. And Fell is just, Fell is just floating in the air, suspended by these columns of teal-colored fire, and she looks absolutely furious. And that is the end of my turn.
Sorry, how much damage was that?
24 points of fire damage.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. And that'll bring us to the Hound.
So actually, just to flavor this a little bit, so that moment that Fell had when she saw what Jean kind of was, I mean, she knew she wasn't undead anyway, but just seeing those fangs and everything, that moment was so shocking that the Hound actually seems to melt into the ground, and then Fell's shadow sort of reappears behind her because the Hound of Ill Omen's quarry was defeated before it disappears. So it is off the initiative order, so it's technically Jean's turn.
Okay, perfect. Jean, it is your turn. How do I take something out of initiative? I don't know. Okay, anyway, that's fine. Jean, it is your turn.
So Jean gets blasted from behind by this flame. She imagines it only as the searing pain of strange magic being done to her by this vampire in front of her. She was able to whip her head around enough to dodge it, is what you saw, Phil. Just able to duck it, but in her own mind, she's been chasing this shadow of a creature who taunts her as she limps through the forest, barely clutching onto a war pick in her bloodied hands as she chases after the vampire who killed her, or killing her, I guess, in this strange memory fugue. As she brings 3 weapon attacks down upon this creature. I actually have to do a Constitution saving throw from your spell, though, fellow. As I remember, so that was 12 damage. So that's going to be DC 10.
Correct.
Plus blessed die. Oh yeah. Okay, that's going to be enough. It's going to be 12. It's going to be enough. Cool. So I will make my attacks against this booger of a creature. This Doru. Because he's still up, yeah?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. First hit. Ooh, that's going to be a 26 to hit. Sorry,
Hits.
plus die. 28 to hit. It's going to do 5, 9, 11 points of magical slashing.
Okay.
Second hit. It's going to be 23 to hit. It's going to do, oh my god, that's a big number. 11 plus 4 is 15, plus 7 is 22 magical damage from this bloody greatsword. And then my third attack. That's going to be 23 to hit.
Yep.
For 8, 10, 12 magical slashing.
All right.
And Doru will not be able to regenerate on his turn.
Oh. Yeah, he looks, but he has this, though he looks like he is about just, I imagine that he doesn't even have his arms anymore. They've been kind of torn off by your attacks. His legs have been severed. Everything he is, but he still keeps this grin on his face as he looks to you, and he says, Ismark, Mary. Ismark, Mary. They're all dead. They're all dead. They're all dead. We killed them. We killed them all. We burned the village to the ground. And Eli, it is your turn.
What targets do I have left?
Doru is really the only one you can, you can also see that Corla is fighting something. You cannot see the third one that is on the other side of the building, though you know it's there. But Doru is really the one that you can see still.
I imagine Sean has this in hand, dealing with Doru. Though at this point, even I'm hesitating, seeing what's become of Sean. But I'm seeing Corla dealing with one of these vamps, and I'm already holding in one of my hands. I've reached down, and I'm holding the bullets, ready to reload. But something stays my hand, and I point the pepper box empty at the vampire that Corla is fighting. And before I even realize what I'm doing, I'm muttering a prayer to Shantea. And righteous indignation begins to glow with a white-hot energy. That is going to be a 16 to hit.
Absolutely.
As a powerful blast of radiant light shoots out more from my arm than from the pepper box. And that is going to do 14 points of radiant damage as my eyes grow wide seeing this blast of light. If this thing is still standing, it is also glowing.
It is
Well, then
not.
its body is glowing. As I just look, I imagine doing one of these sort of taking this shot and then going, because I know it's empty, and I'm just looking at it like, in fact, opening the chamber and just looking at the bullets in my hand. As that is the second cleric spell that I've cast.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so then the guard is going to try and get the vampire that's fighting, but you can see, Corla, that this guard is getting tired. And all right, you're dead. Dead. Okay. Doru is going to. So, question, Connor. Does it take the 3 points?
At the start of its turn.
It is dead.
Oh yeah. So the Doru is like on his knees. His arms are just like dismembered, and the rats made of like coagulated blood will like crawl up into like his arm sockets, into his face, into his eyes, into his mouth, and probably just eat him from the inside out as he gets devoured by rats.
He screams, still yelling, "They're dead! They're all dead! They're dead!" And as those words turn into intelligible screams of agony as he is eaten. You see Corla, the guard who had put up such a valiant fight, is cut down by the last vampire that is alive. And that brings us to your turn.
And seeing that, no! And she would start running towards that vampire. And as a bonus action, I am going to make an insight check against that creature.
Against its
Deception.
Okay.
That's a bad roll.
I got a 3.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good because I rolled a 2, which gives me a total of 10. So I beat it. Yay. Okay, so then she will attack that creature.
Okay.
With her plain old sword. Oh, that's also very bad. She's getting tired. 8 plus 7 is 15 to hit.
That just hits.
Oh, phew. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that is 8 plus 9, 17 points of damage from the sword and sneak attack.
Perfect. And is that your turn?
I moved, I attacked, I did bonus. Yep. That is all.
Perfect. The Vixen. I need Eli, roll me a percentile, please.
All right. I've been using. Sorry, my hesitation was I've been using Beyond Dice all night. All right, I'm gonna roll a virtual percentile. That is an 82.
Fel, you hear this horrible howl / just hiss and growl as you look over and you can see the Vixen's body, just that her bones don't seem right. They begin to buckle and to mangle under themselves, as she will not be able to do anything this turn because she is in the middle of a transformation. However, she is still able to concentrate on her spirit bear, So her bearer is going to attack the vampire. Okay. That's... All right, perfect. All right, and that brings us to Fel. Fel, you
flying.
You are flying, and you can
Yeah.
hear the sound of Corla fighting something kind of just around the corner of the building.
Crap. Connor, roll me a d4.
I got a 3.
Okay. So there's this moment while Fella's sort of suspended by these columns of teal-colored fire. Her gaze is just completely on Jean. I imagine she's actually not thinking anymore about Jean. She's thinking about Thornbolt, actually, in the Death House, in the Durst household. That moment where he, out of a childish fear, this ghost effectively took control of her body and made her a prisoner in her own skin. When her fear, when her hatred of these undead things sort of first started, because she had never experienced anything like that before. And she still, I imagine, probably has not come to terms with that, with being a prisoner in her own skin, even if it was only for a short time before the Everchild cast Thornbolt out. And she's hovering there, but then she does hear the sound of Corlus, maybe the sword kind of slashing through this awful blood that's still dripping from the sky. And she very quietly to herself through gritted teeth just mutters, "I'm not going to leave her behind. Not going to." And she's going to actually turn and move with her 60 feet of fly speed over to the direction where Corla and this other vampire are. And she is going to cast a spell.
Oh.
That should probably hit. That is a 26 to hit, excuse me.
Absolutely.
All right, so she concentrates, and again, kind of almost balancing on one of these columns of fire coming from her left hand. She points with her her right index finger, and let's see what kind of damage this is going to be. I think it is a D8. Check here. Ooh, this is fun. So this little sphere of, it almost looks like this sort of darker teal-colored ice appears at her fingertip, just fueled by pure rage and also some genuine concern for Corla, and streaks towards this thing as she casts Chaos Bolt, and that is going to do 2d8 plus 1d6 damage, and that is going to be cold damage.
Okay.
That is a total of, actually, is that right? Is it 2d8 plus 1d6? Hang on. Uno momento. I just want to make sure. Yeah, 2d8 plus 1d6. Weird. All right. So that is a grand total of 11 points of cold damage as this tiny sphere of teal-colored ice just kind of slams into the side of this vampire's head. I imagine kind of knocks a tooth loose or something like that. As Fel is, I'll say if she can get there with 60 feet, maybe like 20 feet above the ground, 20 feet above where this vampire is, sort of hovering over Corla and this thing, though she is also looking back towards where Eli is with the vixen, just preparing to kind of move back over there if need be, and that is going to end her turn.
All right. Jean.
Jean is chasing shadows still. Doru is slain, but to her, it's just turned into shadow and chased behind another tree. She will pursue the next vampire, who is, in her mind's eye, the vestige.
What is your movement?
60 feet.
Okay, then you will be able to get there.
I apologize. Sorry, Megan. It's an additional d6 because I'm casting it at a third level, so that's an additional 4 points of cold damage. Sorry,
Perfect.
Continue.
Yep. 4, sorry? 4. Okay. Okay.
And this one will be, is this one the one that is being mauled by a bear, or the other one?
There's only one left, and it is being mauled by a bear.
Perfect, yeah. So she'll just come in for the last sweeping strike to kill, attempt to kill at least, this bear one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's being unbearable. The bless is still up, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Cool. My action, strike. Okay, this is going to be my first miss, I think. This is going to be a total of 11.
That is a miss. Yep.
Okay, next attack is going to be 17 to hit.
That is a hit.
Okay. It's going to do 12, 16, 18 magical slashing.
Cool. Okay.
And my last strike is going to be 20 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to do 9, 13, 20 magical slashing.
You can describe to me how you kill this last vampire of the Coffin Maker's home.
Jean lunges, appearing almost behind this vampire, with this unnatural speed that's given to her. Will appear right behind this vampire, and someone who's on the other side would just see the tip of a blood red sword go deep, piercing through its heart, and then as it sinks all the way through, this vampire almost like recoils, gasping for air, as the sword is then brought upwards and cuts them, I guess, with this deadly lethal wound. As they do the finishing blow, it falls over, almost like, I guess, turning to ash, I guess, or whatever the vampires do. And Jean will continue to just bring down another sword strike onto the prone form, butchering it. Why have you done this to me? And just pierces the ground with her greatsword. And I think as that last strike happens, the sword dissipates, just splattering the immediate area with this viscera and blood, almost like someone dropped a bucket of paint, but with that crimson hue of what remains of her greatsword. I'm gonna dismiss the greatsword.
Yeah, and you are out of combat.
I think so.
What about the
Jean-
vixen? Sorry.
Yeah, you see the vixen is convulsing on the ground. You see that the mask has almost been torn off as you see a growing snout and her limbs beginning to retract until they are almost this paw-like, these paw-like limbs.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, Karen. I just wanted to confirm that she was not attacking someone.
Yeah, I think Corla was like right there attacking this vampire when you came and attacked it and killed it, and she sees the anguish in your face as you're like doing that final blow. That why have you done this to me? As you dismiss your sword, and I can only make, as you're probably like leaning there in that same posture with the sword no longer in your hands but still there, Corla would reach out to you and kind of embrace you and give that kind of a comforting hug. It's okay. We'll get through this.
So you're going for a hug for Jean?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
She recoils at the touch, but she can hear this set of drums that's being played in the center of her chest. They're loud, they're confusing, and she can only just topple to the ground, I guess dropping prone, as she does not know what to do. As she is just like being driven almost mad by it. As you can see, perhaps, that she's weeping. Her face is just marred with tears that have almost flooded away the splattering of blood upon her face from the rain and from the gore of this fight. You can hear her chest, feel her chest rising and falling, not in any kind of rhythmic way, but that of sporadic, uneasy, weeping, sobbing, almost like neurotic, uncontrollable spasms of her chest.
And Corla would kneel down beside Jean, maybe try to gather her head, such that kind of put it in her lap. and almost like petting her hair, you know, like you're kind of like this blood soaked mess that we've got now, and kind of trying to smoosh it away from your face, just doing that what her mother used to do for her when she was hurt. She is now doing to Jean, sitting there. He's okay. He's okay. We will get through this. He's okay. You're okay. And just saying that over and over and over again.
As the fight appears to be over, not quite fully comprehending what's happening over on the other space with Corla and Sean, I take my righteous indignation and slide it into its sheath, and I reach backwards with both hands to the base of my rucksack that's actually a wooden chest, and I pull on a compartment at the lower end of it, pulling a door open, and several items drop into my hands. 6 wooden stakes and a hammer. And I lean down to the nearest dead vampire and position one of the stakes over its heart, and I imagine my hat maybe just kind of tossing it to the side, my long hair blood soaked, just kind of as I stand up, whipping it back and moving to the next one and the next one, moving to each of these vampires. I've got 6 stakes, there's 6 vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being cautious, and this is mechanical. This seems like just a thing that needs to be done, and I, in case it is relevant or comes up, I leave the stakes in their heart.
Perfect.
I don't just stake them and then pull them out. I stake them in the heart, and then I move on to the next one, and I'll save the one that's closest to Sean and Corla for last.
Okay. I will make a note of that. Fel, what do you...
Yeah, so I imagine Fel is still 20 feet over Jean and Corla, and then Eli eventually when he makes his way over there to stake this vampire. And there is this sort of unreadable expression on her face. I imagine even the hooded cloak that she's wearing, the hood sort of casts her face, her pale, blood-soaked face in shadow. I imagine in a way she almost looks like some sort of demonic apparition just floating on these columns of teal-colored fire coming out of her hands. And when she sees that it doesn't seem like Jean is a threat at this particular point in time, she will, and again, no one's probably paying attention because Eli's busy staking and Corla is busy comforting Jean. She will actually fly back towards the Vixen, who is still in the process of transforming. She is going to try to find one of the Society of the Golden Wolf pendants and try to secure it around the Vixen's neck if she can.
Yeah, you have no trouble finding a pendant. If you look, you can find one just a few feet away. And if you look, you find that there are actually probably a dozen or so that are littered across the ground.
Okay, so yeah, she'll grab one and she'll slowly approach the still transforming, still writhing Maeve, and she'll, again, trying to control these, like, almost, I imagine they're almost like these spasms of rage just shooting through her as she's starting to come down from the battle high, from the adrenaline and the fear and the anger. It's just this, it's all right. I'm just going to, and she's going to kind of very carefully with shaking hands try to put the pendant around Maeve's neck.
I'm going to need you to make me a dex saving throw as there's a snap that comes as more of a reflex than anything that comes from the Vixen.
That is going to be...
Would Bless still be active, or would that have run out in this time after the fight?
How long does it last?
1 minute.
Because, I mean, this would have been pretty soon after,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
I think it still would have been in effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a total of a 15 with Bless.
Okay.
I imagine that's probably the last action that the Bless is up for.
So you see the bite as it comes, as she just reflexively feels your presence and tries to snap at it, more beast than human at this point. But you avoid it deftly as you are able to put the pendant on.
Does it seem to do anything?
You see that the figure of the vixen stills for a moment, chest breathing in and out in rapid breaths. And you see that she is this very, probably very grotesque looking intermediate form between beast and human. But eventually you do see, you see ripple of pain strikes through the vixen as she slowly is turning back.
Okay. As soon as Fel sees that, she is going to start walking over to the others, and as she does, she kind of holds up a hand, and this fist-sized ball of teal-colored fire starts to kind of revolve around her fingers as she approaches the other three. And once she gets close enough, again, in a voice that's not her typically very unusually accented voice, she just very quietly says, "The two of you need to get away from her." Now.
What is the meaning of this, Phil?
She lied. Again. I meant to talk to you about this actually, but I suppose now is a great time. She kind of looks up and kind of winces as a droplet of blood goes into her eye. She's like, oh, fuck. Why do you trust her? How can you stand being in the same room as her, knowing what she did to you? I never understood that. If I was you, Corla, I would be sick to my stomach even touching her. She left you in that terrible place. She told me that we can't trust anyone, including each other. It took us literally pinning her down in a room and screaming at her. I screamed, sorry, Eli, sorry, Corla, but to get her to reveal what she actually was. I'm done. This is not a person. This is a monster. I am done. And she holds out her hand, and the firebolt is on the verge of going off, but she's trying to do her best to avoid lining it up with either Eli or Corla, obviously.
Yeah. And Corla is definitely going to put her body in the way of that. So if you let it go, it will hit her first. What you say is not lies. But she is all I have left.
You have us. Eli and I and Oscar and Gleowin, we saved you from the death house, which you wouldn't have been in if it wasn't for her. You have us.
I still have her. And
no, you
want...
don't. You have that thing. That is not Jean. And even if it was, why would you even want her like this? She left you behind. She abandoned you. There is no excuse for that, especially not here, not in Barovia. Move, Corla.
No. No. I will not move. I will not let her do this. She can be saved. I will not leave her behind like she left me. But she left me that because she could not leave Flint. And I understand. Because Flint was her Eli. And I was not her Eli. But she is all I have left.
And these pitch black eyes will swivel over to you, Eli. The firebolt still sort of rotating in front of Fel's fingers.
I'm standing next to where Sean and Corla are huddled on the ground. As I imagine Fel and I both kind of approached about the same time.
Fair.
I've got the hammer in my hand, And I was about to say something to Corla, but then as Fel comes in, this whole time I'm just looking back and forth. And then when you look at me, Fel, I take a step forward, putting myself between Sean and Corla and you. I look at you, kind of lean back just a little bit, and I look down and just kind of give you the once over looking up and down. And then with my eyes resting at that teal fire, it seems there's more than one of us that's got more to us than we fully revealed before.
What are you talking about? This magic? I told you I didn't have it until I came to Barovia. I've been open and honest as I can be, especially with you.
We've never seen the kind of power that you've displayed today. And quite frankly, I've never seen the power that any of us did today. There's something more than the individuals here. You've got to recognize that, Fel. If you can be changed in this way by this land, why can't she be changed in a similar fashion beyond her control? You've been open and honest about it because you've readily accepted it and are utilizing it.
I have to. I'm not an adventurer. I know you say I am. I'm not. I have been outside of Daggerford maybe 6 times in my life, Eli. I am not an adventurer. This magic makes me useful. This is a problem. She keeps hiding things from us. And the firebolt will quench in her hand. She's going to drop her hand to her side. If this is what you two want, fine. But this is not over. And she's actually going to turn and she's going to walk away. She's actually going to start heading back towards the blue water.
As you do so, Fel, you see people beginning to walk down the street towards this, essentially this body, this grave, this mass grave. You see the bodies of the guards. They see the bodies of the vampires with the stakes in their chests, and you hear the screams of the villagers, the cries, the laments beginning to wail up in as if the city had one voice, screaming, crying out in lament, saying that Strahd is here. Strahd has come. As you walk down the street, the others... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I kind of imagine as these screams are just echoing through her ears, as the rage leaves her, Fel starts to shake a little bit, and then she actually starts to cry beneath the hood, and then very slowly she will just sort of blow away as she's going to cast invisibility on herself as she makes her way to the blue water. But you're good to go ahead.
Eli, Jean, and Corla, you immediately feel animosity towards you. People are looking for someone to blame for this, someone to pay for the deaths, for what has happened, and for the return of the demon. You see men begin to approach you, swords at their sides. They're quite far away still, but you can sense this fairly quickly. What would the three of you like to do?
I imagine as Fel turned and before these folks show up, I just sort of crouch down so that I'm closer to Corla and Sean, and I look at both of them. And I sort of point with I imagine the bloody head of the hammer, and just say, looking at Corla, but pointing at Sean, is this going to be a problem? And then kind of looking around and seeing everybody approaching, I'll stand up and say, I guess that doesn't matter. This isn't over. And I will reach my hand out to Sean to help her up if she'll take it.
And Jean looks up to you. Her eyes are bloodshot red. There's barely any pupils there. Her face is matted from tears. Her hair, like, clinging to her face. She's covered in blood from head to toe. Just like her breastmelon armor is like just polished and with this blood. And she looks to you. Her face is pale. Her skin is like shrink wrapped to her bones. What happened? She almost like seems like she woke up from a very bad sleep. She's barely able to focus on you before her head and like lolls back down to the ground.
Help me carry her. And I think Carla would help Eli, almost like Jean's lifeless body, kind of, if you're unconscious or whatever. Maybe help start dragging her away.
I think actually, if Jean doesn't actually pull up, and then Corla, if you're asking, you would suddenly not find Eli a helping hand to help you with Sean, as instead, seeing these approaching villagers, you hear as I just have righteous indignation out, and I'm quickly loading rounds back into it.
And as she hears that and sees that, she starts to shake Jean. Jean, we have to go. Come on, let's go.
And as you help Jean up to her feet, she's barely able to stand. And she would just like whisper, so thirsty. But she has, her movement speed is halved because she has 2 levels of exhaustion here. So, yeah. She's just able to limp, barely able to hold herself up. She will gladly help. Sorry, she will gladly accept your help. She doesn't like pull away or anything. She almost like can barely move, as if she's just a piece of limp spaghetti.
Where would the 3 of you be heading?
Where's this crowd of people coming from? Like all over, or?
The majority of them are coming from the north. I do think that you could, if you would like, go south, which is towards the big gates. If you would like, kind of skirt around alleyways if you want to be quick about it.
Yeah, I think that's where Corla would be starting to take Jean away from the mob.
And I'll stay at their back with my weapon at the ready, sort of not so much helping to hold Sean up, but more pushing as Corla's helping Sean, as I've got a hand on her back and I've got my weapon just scanning around as we make our way, trying to get away from these people.
Okay. And you would head towards the gate? Okay. You're able to... The word seems to have spread, but you're able to, because you left so quickly, you're able to kind of get ahead of the word, passing through the village or the town, and you would be able to get through the gates. But you hear the rain still falls. It is still thick, and you almost can't see a few feet in front of you as you are just engulfed by the sound of rain and the wails of people in the town. Fell, you're heading to the Blue Water Inn to
Correct.
get
To
the sun.
sword.
You are able to get in, and you see that there is a small panel behind the bar that has the face of a lion, and upon further inspection, you're able to see that there is a trigger button that you're able to push that opens up a sliding door, and within that door, there's a chest, a very, very long chest that would fit a sword. And I would say very easily, if you would like, you're able to break the lock, and you see the light from within.
Is the like the folded piece of silk that the vixen had before she kind of presented her, like the sheath of the weapon, is it in there as well?
It is. The light you see is just a little bit peeking out from the sheath. Yep.
Okay. So she would, again, I imagine she feels exhausted. She feels awful. She kind of wipes some like awful like blood and tear mixture from her face, and then she will kind of grab the sun sword. And if she can maintain her invisibility, because it lasts for about an hour, she will. And then, there's really like one main gate out of Valaki, which is the southern gate. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's just one gate. Yep.
Okay, so then if the spell will kind of carry her to that point, she will start again just walking, trying to avoid running into anybody. She'll kind of put the sun sword in this like little knapsack that she always carries. I imagine she probably grabbed like a bottle of wine from behind the counter and tucked that into her bag as well. And yeah, I imagine she's almost in a daze. You know, maybe a couple people brush against her and they kind of look expecting to see someone, but there's nobody there. But I think she can't get the image of Eli and Corla standing over this twisted undead thing out of her mind, as she would eventually make her way out of the city.
As you're leaving, something catches your eye. Wood is being piled in the center of the square, and a pillar is being supported by this wood. And as you're walking, you see that, and the people are crying. The children have been ushered into homes, and men and women are beginning to fight each other in this chaos. And you're able, in this confusion, are able to slip out. And just as you slip out, your invisibility ends. And I assume at that point you do see the others.
So I'm going to have Fel make an intelligence check real quick, because we completely forgot about Arena and those kids we saved. And I'm going to see if she is of a mind to actually think about that right now. That is a natural 20. So I imagine as the invisibility wears off, she kind of sees the others, and immediately, probably for the first time actually, since she's traveled with both Corla and Jean for a little while, and Eli for a little bit longer, she feels this sort of clenching sensation in her stomach, which is very familiar to her. Because whenever she runs into somebody on the streets of Daggerford, she never knows, are they going to make some joke about her bastardy, about the sort of circumstances of her birth. You know, it's always a gamble. It's always a question. And I think that shocks her a little bit. And then she stops and then realizes, oh shit, what about Arena? And so I hate to do this to you, Megan. She's going to cast invisibility for the final time today. And she's going to just run back towards Blinksy's shop to check in on Arena and the kids.
As you do that, we're going to go to Eli, Fel, and Corla for a moment. You see a figure
Sean.
in... Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sean.
Sorry, Jean.
Two different characters, okay? No, I'm just kidding.
Jean, you see a figure walking towards you down from the road, coming towards the gates, and because of the rain, it's very obscured. But at some point, you see Jean approaching you. Do you do anything as she approaches you, Jean, Corla, and Eli?
I look to Jean, the one I'm carrying.
You're still carrying Jean.
And I would try to get her attention. Jean, tell me something that only you would and I would know. Do it quickly.
I voted to not leave you behind.
All right. Hurry. The other Jean is not. The other Jean is here.
And Jean like lifts her head, like just lolling on her shoulders, looks up to see herself. She's confused. She expresses this confusion of like, what's going on?
How far away?
Why can't I smell her?
As far, because of the rain, you can only really make out that it's Jean, about 15 feet. She's about 15 feet from you.
Still raining blood.
Yes.
Of course it is.
How can you smell anything with this foul rain falling upon us?
I imagine it smells like pennies right now.
Yeah. Lots and lots. Can you hold yourself? She'd say to Jean.
Yes, I can.
As she's trying to like make you stand up on your own, and in the same movement, Corla is grabbing her bow and knocking an arrow, planning to shoot the false Jean that's coming down the hill.
And if Corla seems confident that we've got the right Sean, I'm going to take a shot at this thing.
Go ahead.
I've never wanted to roll a nat 20 more than ever. All right, come on, D&D Beyond. That was a 3.
Oh no.
Total of 11.
As you shoot, it almost seems to go right past Jean. It doesn't almost look... You lined it up, you know you did. You shot a shot that you thought was going to be true, and an imperceptible movement from this Jean, and you miss. And this Jean keeps approaching. This Jean does not have any weapons drawn or raised, but as she gets closer, you can see that she has a letter in her hand.
Can I shoot my arrow?
Yes, you can.
Okay, it was a 24 to hit
That is a hit.
for 7 points piercing.
You hit, and it punctures this Jean, but it almost sounds like it's just when you've done practice shots in the past, you had wooden targets, and this is exactly what it's felt like as you shoot her. It just feels like you're just hitting a piece of wood as she continues to approach, and when she gets close, she just holds out an envelope towards one of you. Not saying anything, not looking, no real facial expressions. Does anyone take it?
So Corla would look to Eli, and I don't know if Eli still maybe has the gun trained or on this Jean or not. Corla would kind of put down the bow. I mean, this creature's close enough, and she's got her hand on her dagger just in case, but she will step close enough to grab the letter, and if there's any movement, that dagger is going in the heart.
I'm absolutely got the gun on it as well.
You see, there's no movement as you take this letter. But once you have it in your hand, you see this Jean turn, her back facing you as she begins to walk away. Would you do anything?
I would quickly look at the note, but I don't want this Jean to get too far away because Corla would totally backstab it.
Go ahead. It's a letter, so it's in an envelope with a very lovely red seal on it.
Does the seal look like, do I recognize the seal at all?
Yes, actually, you would notice it is a very similar seal to the design you saw on the black carriage when you left the death house.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I would be backstabbing this creature.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's almost a crit. That was for 26.
Yep, that's a hit. You can roll your damage.
Yeah, it's only like 7 points, but 7 points. Unless I can add sneak, but I don't have advantage.
So you do this, and I need you for me to make a strength saving throw, please.
Okay, that's going to be bad. 6.
You are pushed back by this Jean as she just doesn't even turn around, just her arm almost extends backwards. The shoulder shouldn't be able to do this, but then she just shoves you back and begins full running down. Sorry, she pushes you prone. Yeah, she pushes you prone, sorry. And she just begins running away. Full tilt.
I can't shoot her in the back.
And I think at this, Corla would just watch the creature just disappear because, not getting up, she's still sitting in the mud. And as soon as it's gone far enough, she would actually open the letter.
You see in a calligraphy that is very intricate and almost, probably by your eyes, probably very narcissistic, as the M's and the G's kind of go in these flowery twists and turns. But you read, "My friends, I apologize for not giving you a proper welcome sooner. I am a poor host for not inviting you for dinner. But I believe that I have some questions. I believe I may have some answers that will intrigue you and help bring light to your situation here. I bid you dine at my castle so that we may meet in civilized surroundings. Your travel to my castle will be a safe one. I await your arrival. Your host, Strahd Vanzarovich."
I think as she reaches the end of it, I mean, almost skipping ahead to see the name, she would just crumple the letter. But she wouldn't throw it away. But she would just crumple it in anger. We're
quickly going to move to Fel. as you're walking back through, and you have to pass through the center of town to be able to get to Blinsky, the toy house, you see fire. You see smoke cutting through the air, the rain. You hear the angry screams, the cries, as you see a crowd now surrounding this wood and this pillar. Do you look upon, you see that there is somebody on this pillar who has been set alight.
Yeah, I think it's almost an unconscious thing. I imagine, even though she had that kind of moment of, oh crap, what about Arena and the kids? She's just so exhausted. She's so exhausted. She feels so beaten down, and she feels so confused and just hurt and weirdly conflicted. So I imagine it's almost just this unconscious kind of glance over in that direction towards the figure on the pyre.
It is unmistakable as you see the golden mask of the vixen, slumped, arms tied to the post, draped down, engulfed in flames. And that is where we're going to end our session for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for watching. That was a very intense session. Lots of a big combat, which I think this group was due for. So we will be back to play on the 21st of July. So thank you, everyone, for watching. The chat was great to look at every time I could. And again, thank you to my wonderful players who just make this game so alive and amazing. And this is one of my favorite games. Is so amazing. So thank you. And we will see you next time. Have a good night, everyone.